Hello YouTube, Camodo Gaming here, bringing you guys another episode of Scrap Mechanic. Today is a special episode. We have a update here in Scrap Mechanic, and it is actually quite a cool little update that we're going to go over here today. As you might notice, we're actually in the town. I think this is town 2.0, and I tell you what, the town actually looks kind of like a barren wasteland. This was never finished. This is actually kind of sad to see. I don't know. This is a little depressing being back in this area. It looks like it needs a little bit of work. But anyways, we're actually here for the update here in Scrap Mechanic. It's a sensor update. We've got a new search bar option. And we've got something to do with optimizations. It's really to do with big creations and getting a lot better FPS. So we're going to go over all of that here today. Now, if you missed it, this is the second video of the day. Brick Rigs also had an update, and we did an update video on that earlier today, so if you missed that, that'll be down in the description. But anyways, let's go ahead. We're going to jump right back into the town here and check out this update. You know, something doesn't feel right. Hold on, I know what it is. It's the music. Let's get the old town music back going for all the people who remember the town. So, anyways, you're probably wondering what today's update's all about. So we're going to go over the big thing first. And I do apologize if I sound a little tired. It is like probably about 1 o'clock now. I've been working all day. And of course, the day that I've got to work is the day that all the updates come out on the games that I play. But today's update, we've got a sensor update. Now, you're probably wondering, well, what's the sensor do now? So we're going to line up a couple of these things. Everybody knows how a sensor works in Scrap Mechanic. So let's go ahead and line up some blocks here. As you can see, the sensors have lit up because of the objects. Well, the sensor update is something that I didn't even think of until they announced it. And I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. So the update is actually a color update. So normally the sensor detects objects, so you can always switch it up. You can switch it to button, to switch mode. And you can adjust about how many blocks it can see. So we can turn them all down to 2, and as you can see, they all turn off. Well, now you can actually make the sensors activate by color. So let's get our paint tool out, and we're gonna actually paint a couple of these. So if you're wondering why you would actually need something like this, we actually have a really neat test set up over at the go-kart track, and that's why we're in the town, by the way. But let's go ahead and we're gonna paint some blocks here. Let's paint this one white. You know what, let's just go red, white, and we'll go blue. Okay, so we've got our colors here. So you can actually switch these over to a color mode. So we'll go over here, and you can select the color. So we'll select blue, turn that off. Actually, it needs to go back up. I think it still uses the range, if I'm not mistaken, but it actually detects colors now. So you've got that one. Let's go and turn this up to 5, make sure that's the way it is. Did I screw that up? Maybe I did screw that up. Hold on, so there we go. Alright, so it's set to 5, and now it's set to color mode. So, with it being on color mode, it's not activated because it's set to white. So we'll have to go over here and set it to red. Now you're probably wondering to yourself, why do you need this? What is the point of this? And really, they even say it in the update notes. Which, by the way, this is in the beta branch. It's not an official update yet. It might be by the time this video comes out. They're normally really quick about going from beta to official update. But you're wondering why you might need this. And they even said, mostly for something like self-driving cars or AI vehicles. So say if you were to paint like a line on the road here, you can have an AI vehicle and you can have the sensors pick it up and follow the line. This would actually be really cool for town builds. Thinking if you had like a complete square and you had an AI car, so you can actually have like AI traffic as you walk around the town, or maybe even like an AI bus. So that's what those are for. Of course, you can see the applications here. You can always switch them up. So say if we were to switch the paint on all of these, let's just paint them all yellow. So go boop, and you see all the sensors light up, or actually you see all the sensors turn off. So that's what that is. Newtonian, and I have to give Newtonian a big shout out. I was at work while all this was going down. He actually set up the AI car that we're about to check out and this little experiment just to kind of show you guys. So this is like a color wheel. This is kind of a visual representation of how these sensors pick up now. You've got a logic gate up here. We can spin the wheel. I think it's set to white, so whenever this hits the white on the board, it should light up the logic gate. And this is another part of the update, the whole fact that the sensors now are a lot more accurate. They used to kind of miss sometimes if something was moving fast and it wouldn't quite pick it up, and supposedly they are a lot better. So every time you see that little white pass by, it lights it up. So that's pretty much one application there. It's the whole fact of the other things that you could possibly do with this. And of course, the big thing that comes to mind, and I actually watched Khan's video. This is really, when I think of this update, I think about Khan. I think he did this earlier too. You think of AI cars. So AI cars were something that was really cool in Scrap Mechanic. We're going to put this one over to the side first. We had an AI car for the go-kart track here. And this AI car used a ton of sensors. As you can see, there's sensors aimed off the sides, aimed off the fronts, the sides, I believe. Does it have any in the back? No. And what this thing does, you can see how the sensors are angled out. It's supposed to pick up anything like walls or curves, and that's how it knows to drive around a track. Let's see if this one still works, by the way. This one's actually kind of fast. This thing's going to drive around. I don't think this one was perfect. I think this one actually liked to hit the walls and then kind of turn around, but when he gets close there, you can see him turning. So he's turning because of the walls, and it's not the most smooth motion with all the sensors and how close it has to get to the walls. So that's how AI little cars and carts, anything AI related, had to drive around with the sensors. So now, in theory, you can just, let's put this one, just in case it freaks out, let's put this one here. So now, in theory, you can have the painted line, and the AI should be able to follow it. So this is something Newtonian built, and like I said, big shout out to him. He knew I was doing this update video, and he was like, hey, let me build the AI car and update it real quick. So we're gonna throw this thing down here, and it's trying to correct itself. It already knows the color here. So say on the sides here, you can see that it's in color mode, and it's gonna detect the black line. And he's made a line all the way around the course. So you can see this one looks a lot less complicated because it's just the two downward sensors that are gonna try to guide it along this line. So we'll go ahead and hit the button back here. And there she goes. Now, it's really entertaining when this thing gets to the corner. This one's not quite as fast. I don't know if we can boost this one up. Let's go slightly more powerful. There we go. That's not too bad. So yeah, this looks so bad with the foliage on it. It looks like I've actually not taken care of the town here. But yeah, here it comes to the corner. And look how smooth that is. That's actually fantastic. And as you can see, Mr. Non-Newtonian has painted a line all the way around our go-kart track here. So this little cart's, let's go ahead and speed it up quite a bit more. Oh, it got off a little bit. These things kind of do jump the track still. It's not perfect. Let's go and turn it back around. I think that's why he had it going a little slower. I could imagine these things getting more tricky. This one uses suspension glitches when these things speed up, because if it jumps the sensor and the sensor's not able to keep up, it could jump it off basically the tracks. But you get the idea as to where this is heading. So this is actually a really cool update. I do want to see how I'm going to maybe implement it in the future. If you guys have any ideas for this sensor, I'm pretty sure there's going to be some challenge ideas that pop up and all that good stuff. But I'm going to let this thing drive around. Let's go ahead and jump to the next feature. And the next feature is useful for some. Now, if you're a vanilla Scrap Mechanic player, you're probably pretty used to where everything is. But if you're somebody like me that uses mods, you do get confused by where all the parts are. So if you now know the name of your part, you can search it up here in the search bar. So say if we were to go to wheel, do that, hit enter, there's your wheels. So depending on whatever you're searching up, you can just type it up. Does it just pick up just a couple letters? I believe so. Okay, so let's just type in butt like that. So it picks up the button. So yeah, you just type in a couple letters. Even say if we just go type in S, picks up everything that I guess begins with S. Oh, that didn't actually work. That didn't actually work, did it? Maybe you have to type in a little bit more than that. So let's say glass. Let's just go GLA. So yeah, you can see it picks up all the glass pieces. This is good for somebody that has a lot of parts. And say if you're a big time mod user, you got tons of different little items. This would actually help quite a bit. So that's actually a useful little tool. Pretty cool having that. Where's our little AI bot at? It's somewhere around here. Oh, there it is. Yeah, it's getting around the track. So the third update here, and which by the way, they also said they're working on survival, if you're wondering why we haven't had as many updates. But the third update, it's really important to me. So for the third update, and this is big because this encourages me to possibly take on big builds again. So everybody knows that I do a lot of big creations, from sky bases to towns to underwater bases, apocalypse worlds, and everything that you see that I build, and I was looking for one of these, I have cracks everywheres. And this is because Scrap Mechanic calculates, say if this was one whole road, and say this was attached to all of these buildings, Scrap Mechanic calculates the physics, or it used to, all as one. So when the player's walking around on that, it's trying to calculate everything, and it was causing a tremendous amount of lag. So that's why I started to separate everything. So supposedly now, if things are together, say if this was one whole road, or say if this road was attached to multiple houses, this wouldn't be as laggy. So we wouldn't have to make all these separations. So that is a very, very big step in the right direction for Scrap Mechanic, because that makes me optimistic about town builds and being able to do stuff like that again. And that's weird, the Camodo hood. I forgot we named it that. Okay. But yeah, this is certainly a big step in the right direction. I think this is also a step in the right direction for survival. Once we start building like survival bases with friends and stuff, hopefully it's going to make it for a much more enjoyable experience with everybody else. So I'm going to keep this in mind, this whole optimization thing. I'm going to test it out a little bit. I'm going to go to some old maps. There's no guarantees, but we might be looking at maybe starting back up on it could be a new project, or we could be going to an old project. This actually looks really nice, even though it's got like the old glass and stuff on it. So we might be doing that, depending on how this optimizations work. But anyways, that's going to about wrap it up. This is just going to be a short little update video. We pretty much covered what there is to cover about the sensors. We covered the new hotbar, the little search bar that you can use, and we've covered a little bit about the optimizations. I don't really have too much to test besides the town here, and obviously this town is running fantastic right now. It used to be when you walked on some of these platforms, it would be a little bit laggy. So it does seem to be running a little bit better. I'll have to do a little bit more extensive test when I have time. I will be bringing back a couple old maps and testing those out. But I am very hopeful for the future. So if you want to test out this update, it is in the beta branch, or it might even be out, like I said, depending on how quickly they release this. They've been known to do that fairly quick. But yeah, we will be doing the Scrap Mechanic contest, the Discord contest. We have the next theme. That episode will be out on Sunday, so if you want to catch some more Scrap Mechanic, I got some more Brick Rigs coming out. Got some other games that we're looking at for the weekend, so stay tuned to the channel. But yeah, if you like to like and subscribe, everything helps my channel. And I guess we'll see you guys next time in Scrap Mechanic. Thank you.